Hi, I'm
And
Ran,
I'm Ken.
and this is a Raid Shadow Legends video, low spin, almost free to play. And today we're going to be highlighting Altan, the OG barbarian, because I watched some other videos last week, and a certain content creator, Nub Dubs, talked about how he didn't feel that Altan was as viable a champion as he once was. And I think he's still quite useful in the game, especially if you don't have some other champs that do what he does. And I mean, it's all luck who the champions you have, you know. So we're going to look at Altan. We're on Ken's account. And where is your Altan used now? Where have you used him in the past? Where do you use him now?
Well, I've used him everywhere in the past, and I've used him recently. Well, I still use him in Clan Boss. I've used him since I pulled him on Clan Boss. He's been my aura lead and my attack down in Clan Boss since I got him, because he's the number one champ for that. I don't think there's anybody in the game that's better for a combination of defense lead and attack down, and especially being able to put that attack down on almost 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm. He's still in my Clan Boss, and I do Ultra Nightmare,
right,
3 key.
Right.
So, and
I'm 2 key Ultra Nightmare with him, and he hits.
Is he still in your Clan Boss team?
Yeah.
I see. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And
he's
you're
led my Clan Boss team
solid,
from day one.
solid 2 key. Like usually your 2 keys are in like what 85, 80 something.
Well, I normally hit around 40, 45 on a key, give or take.
Yeah, so I mean, he's doing some work for you.
Yeah, I mean, because mine's not. It's not as if mine's even like crazy statted out. I mean, if you even look at him just in general, the defense is really high.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, I mean, he's got 200% crit damage. You know, usually you're going to see 250, 300, 5K.
Good grief.
And then, and then his accuracy is what you need for a Clan Boss, basically. For Ultra Nightmare, you want to shoot for 250. He's sitting at 259, and there you go. He's good to go for landing the
his
attack
crit damage is nice at 207, but it's
not
out of this world.
Exactly. It's a good number. It's something that's, but it's totally doable with hands, crit damage hands, and an amulet. And you've got basically 200 almost right there. So, I mean, he's not anything insane. I will say the gear that I have on him is some of the better gear, like rarity wise, obviously. But this is a resilience is basically like silver set. Like
I sell so much of it.
Yeah, I mean, and so I've got good substats and things on it, and good. And see, that's only crit rate hands. So I must have well, because I've got crit damage on other stuff.
2 rolls of that.
That is enough to get him up there, because I was
So you could even build him tankier, and he would do more damage if you got crit damage hands on him. Right?
Well, if you got crit damage hands on him, he's going to do more. But you got to be able to cap crit rate out and keep that tankiness, and that was kind of where I was.
Right.
It was easier for me to keep the tankiness and go with crit rate hands, and then just have crit damage on the set. But because I've got the crit rate there, and then the defense on the chest, and so you've got another crit damage roll there on that one too.
That's nice.
And then speed feet, or no, defense feet. Sorry, I was thinking.
Wow.
That I still had speed on it, but nope, defense feet. So
had a good double roll of speed on it.
Yeah, exactly. You've got great rolls on that one. Those feet right there is why I sort of built this set around, because those feet are ridiculous.
They're very nice. Crit damage, speed, defense, crit rate. That's like they're built for him.
And then here, same kind of deal. We're looking for crit rate, crit damage, and enough speed, HP, defense type things to keep us alive. Making sure we've got enough of everything.
And because you're in Clan Boss, your speed doesn't have to be out of this world. You need to have it within a certain perimeter.
Mine is actually only tuned. Mine's not even tuned for Ultra Nightmare. Mine's tuned for Nightmare.
That's funny.
And it just works on Ultra Nightmare as well. Just
you let the
just take
Clan Boss.
Well, he goes first.
Yeah.
But it's the way I have the skill set up. It still works out fine. And I run the same team with the same setup on both bosses, and I usually only do one affinity, but I would run this on any affinity.
And you're an in-game player, and he's still relevant, very relevant.
Yeah, well, I will say Altan is like one of those guys. Defense ring.
Okay.
Got a little blood shield, but that just happened probably when I got it. I was like, yeah, let's put that on him because of the good HP rolls on it to try to keep him up.
Nice
crit damage
accuracy.
Amulet, not with some accuracy there, and then accuracy banner, but with some defense and HP. Basically, like I said, attack obviously means 0 for him, so you're just trying to keep him alive and trying to get him enough stats as far as whatever you're doing with him. But yeah, Altan is like almost the definition of power creep in this game, where he was one of those champs that in the beginning, because he's OG, he did a lot in his kit. He had attack down on his A1. He's got the shield and the defense
Increased
on his
defense.
A2, and then with his passive, if he kills anybody, you get a revive out of him. So he kind of becomes a pseudo reviver, and it's pretty cool for doing whatever. But of course, it's not going to work for you at all in clan boss. It's not going to pay off. But like I said, I used him everywhere, and there were so many times in arena and different wave killing and faction crypts or whatever, where that revive has come in very handy or been clutch. So
right.
it's nothing that to just forget about. And then of course his aura being defense helps him and everybody
battles,
else, and it's all battles, so it's everywhere. So that's what I say, he was so great when he came out that he was easily everybody's number one type of champ. But now, because so many, I mean, this kind of a kit combination would be on an epic,
right?
Because so many champions now have so much more to them,
right?
Than just this was like, that was pretty. He only has 2 attacks. I mean,
he reminds me of a fiery Cheeto too, with those colors.
Yeah, his color choices are definitely interesting. I mean, that's the worst sunburn of all time, right? But no, he's the definition of power creep. But I will say he's still totally and 100% one of the best champs in the game when it comes down to just getting the job done, progression, and then also relying on him for a clutch attack down on just about anything.
Now, other people have mentioned Iron Brago as maybe a substitute or an upgrade for your Altan. Why would that maybe not be the case?
I mean, he's not as reliable of an attack down. He brings a lot more. Like I said, he's going to have more because he's bringing so much more defense. He's bringing, debuff removal, or not debuff, buff removal, even though I find that rarely ever triggers. Now, I don't have it booked, so maybe it's different once you book him. But, usually I'm just putting him in for getting the defense aura and or not aura, but the, in Doom Tower it's good. But getting the defense passive that he has that just increases everybody's defense by 10% is just ridiculous. And then also he has like provoke and things in his kit. He's a good sort of wave control, but he's great in clan boss. You'd have to have, unless you have somebody like Vizier or some way in extending debuffs, he's not reliable on the attack down 100%. And that's going to kill you, and not, it doesn't matter how much defense you bring in. If you don't have attack down, he's going to kill you.
Exactly. So maybe reliable is still.
Yeah, and that's what I say. and I've got him, like, nowadays I probably wouldn't have something like Lore of Steel on him now, because obviously my sets don't really, I mean, I do get a little bit of benefit out of the defense and HP from that set.
But that was that more...
Guardian doesn't do anything for... Oh wait, I didn't mean to bring that up, but Guardian doesn't do anything that, or Lore of Steel doesn't do anything for Guardian. I had him before in something like Lifesteal and Speed or something like that, and I was just basically trying to get stats out of Lore of Steel. But I more than likely wouldn't use that now, and I probably wouldn't even put the turn meter control down on him, depending on...
Would you ever go defense with him instead of
that's what I'm saying. I may do that, but it just sort of would depend, because I do like the fact that I have the debuff extension on him. But that I guess it's sniper here that I don't need that on him at all, because he's not 100. Actually, yeah, never mind. He's not 100% on the A1. It's just super reliable, but it's not. Let's see, it's 60%. So that's why I put it on them, to get just more.
But it bucks out to what, 75?
75. So you get up to 80. So I mean, yeah, it's pretty, it's solid where it is, but it that extra 5 is just,
it's always good.
That's what he's in there for, is to put attack down on.
Yeah.
So you can go that route, but you could definitely give him counter attack. Go defense route, give him some more defense, give him some more survivability, and that would be totally fine for him as well. It just sort of depends on where you want to go. With me, like, I had him so early on that I was looking for things like stats and helping out and making sure that they land things and do stuff, because I may not have even had him booked when I put masteries on him. Like, I'm sure I probably didn't, even though that's one of his other benefits, is that when you book him, it don't take that much. You got 5 there and 4 there, and you're done.
Yeah, and that's so nice. Yeah. And today's champs are going to take how many? 10, 11.
Yeah, it's usually double digits on any of the on any of the the champs that you're going to want to use. But like I said, I use them in clan boss. I'm not going to run a clan boss obviously right now. Way too much time. But I do. I've already run a one run today. I thought I had. Oh no, I haven't. Oh no. Well, I need to run a clan boss then.
We'll we'll cut back to it if we need to.
All right. Well, do you want me to run?
Yeah, go for it if you need to.
Well,
yeah.
right.
And then we can
run a clan boss.
We'll run a clan boss, and yeah, we won't make you guys watch the whole thing. We'll come back in and out in the good parts. But starting off, let's see.
Well, and then I'll say as far as the team is concerned for the makeup, of course he's in the lead for the defense aura, and I have him in a guardian set as we saw just now because he shares damage to try to keep Skull Crusher alive, so that way he doesn't die too quickly. Because that was what my problem was in this team, is that Skull Crusher was just dying because of the ally protect, and I couldn't make him last long enough to get the the 2 key type of thing. It was usually 3 key or better. But once I was able to keep Skull Crusher alive for long enough and get closer to turn 50, or usually I get to turn 50, but sometimes they get to 46 or something, 47 in there. But
in the general area,
yeah. But it's at least pretty reliable to get to 50 anyway.
And this chick,
that's Dimotha, and she does the block damage to it's one of those like almost an unkillable team, but not really. Like they're not unkillable because they only have block damage for 1 turn. But see, Skull Crusher does it to himself, so he has it for 2 turns out of the 3 that you would need it. And then everybody else is getting the shields from Brogni.
Benefits him even more.
Right.
Yeah.
So really, and that was what it was. It was like he keeps himself alive on 1 turn. Brogni keeps him alive with the shield on another turn, and then Dimotha keeps him alive on with the block damage on another turn, and then we're back to his, and he's the linchpin. When Skull Crusher dies, everybody else starts dying too because of the ally protection that he provides.
So Draco is your poisoner, correct?
Well, Draco's the damage. Besides Altan as well, but yeah, for as far as the main damage dealer, Draco is doing, he's doing a half of the damage, and then the other half is done by Altan and Brogni.
All right, so we're gonna give it a go and see. Is Altan going first with the tack down? Is that what we're looking for?
I don't know if he's the fastest. I don't think he's the fastest.
My Altan is the fastest. So.
He might be. I mean, it doesn't matter because you're all going to go. Right. The clan boss is going to go first anyway.
As long as Skull Crusher goes last. Basically.
Yeah, and then once they go, but yeah. Once they start, I mean, he's already going to get a hit, but in the beginning, it doesn't matter.
And I like how you do that because everybody's like, oh, you got to beat the clan boss, but really, you don't.
Well, no, not at all. It's totally fine. And it actually is beneficial for me because I got 1 team to run both clan bosses. I don't have to worry about changing any gear, changing any speeds, doing anything like that. They're just good to go on both. And this is one of those old school style of teams anyway. This is before the whole unkillable craze where, you
Very
had
OG.
a lot more champs that could provide that. I still don't have a Seeker. I still don't have a Man-Eater. So I don't have those types of clan boss builds. And because of that, and I don't have a Doom Priest either. And those were like the 3 sort of linchpin characters in making the other types of unkillable work besides the Man-Eater.
Look, he's still alive.
Oh,
Altan till the end. Yes. Nice.
Got to turn 51, so there's a strong showing. But
yeah, 46
you can see Altan bringing 11.5. Brogni 10.8. That's why I was saying they're half. And then Draco brings you the other half basically with the 17 on this team. But Altan obviously strong. Could even be stronger. He's not, and you could really, if you kind of, you couldn't necessarily make him your main only damage dealer in the way that you can make Draco into that, where everybody else can basically be of a support role type deal. But he's one of those cats that can come in and do support